Well, that was a movie.
Hello, welcome back to First Thoughts. I'm your host, Simon. This is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on Steven Soderbergh's new film, Presence. It was also written by David Koepp, by the way. If you don't know who either of those guys are, Steven Soderbergh is a very famous director, known mostly for the Ocean's 11 trilogy. David Koepp has written a ton of great movies, including Mission Impossible, Spider-Man, Zathura, which is better than people give it credit for. I like that movie. Zathura? Zathura? Jumanji 2, in other words.
Interesting. Never heard of that one.
No.
No.
So, fun fact, diversion, guys, we'll be right with you in one moment. So, the guy who wrote the book, Jumanji, wrote a sequel to it called Zathura, where you took the board game and you flip it over, and it's got a different game on the other side, which is Jumanji in outer space, essentially. So instead of wild animals, you have to deal with, like, aliens and other things happening. And so there was a movie made of that in 2005, starring a very young Josh Hutcherson. Kristen Stewart also was young in it. Tim Robbins was the dad. I didn't even realize that. Dax Shepard is an astronaut. There's a lot of people in it.
Wow.
Did not go over well. Actually, frankly, it's got a 67%. That's better than I thought it would be. Anyway, talented people involved. I had not heard a single word about this movie until I happened to check Twitter today, and people were talking about it coming out today. So we decided to make a double feature of today. We saw Flight Risk, which was fantastic, and then we followed it up with Presence, which I'll admit I wasn't super excited about it. I was mainly excited because of the people involved. Also, it's starring Lucy Liu, by the way. She's probably, well, not probably, she's definitely the most famous actor involved. The whole cast was good, though, by the way. But I don't know if you're aware, but you guys should be, because I reviewed it last year. There was a movie called A Violent Nature, or In a Violent Nature,
very familiar,
something like that, where it clearly looked like somebody wanted to make a Friday the 13th movie, but couldn't get the rights to it, so just changed some stuff.
That's fair.
But then the appeal of that movie was it was filmed from the perspective, the POV of the killer. And so that was the whole gimmick.
Oh, I did hear about that.
And so then I saw the blurb about this movie, and for those of you who don't know what it is a movie about a haunted house from the perspective of the ghost. And so I was like, okay, so somebody saw somebody else do that and said, we're going to rip that off. And I will say, maybe that's what happened, but I can't tell if that's the case, because the people who were involved in making it were so talented that they made a good movie, whereas the other people, it was a gimmick. This one was an actual good movie, and you could tell from like the first 30 seconds, based on the camera work alone, I was like, I have a good feeling about this. And my feeling was correct. This movie, how did you feel about it, Justin?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. There are definitely some things where I was like, I know movies don't have to explain everything, but damn, that was kind of interesting setup there for you to just never address that ever again. But for the most part, very interesting, very mysterious. This is, I assume, horror.
That's what it says it is, and I went into it expecting it's horror. I would not classify this remotely as horror, though.
I'm
this
starting
is
to think
drama.
I don't understand what horror is supposed to mean, and that's probably fair.
I think they just went, it's a haunted house, slap horror.
Yeah, it's paranormal, but
it's not horror.
No.
Just because a ghost is in it doesn't mean it's horror.
Yeah.
This was as much of a... This also, frankly, reminded me a lot of the movie Here, which came out last year, a Robert Zemeckis film. Tom Hanks, Robin Wright. And that movie was... They set up the camera in one location and just showed that point...
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, a singular location throughout history. Now, this is very different because it doesn't follow that same pattern, but because of how the camera worked... all the takes were really long.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's almost closer to stage acting than camera acting in Here. In this movie, though, they don't fall for that. Just because it's really long takes, just because really long scenes, the acting still was really good and didn't feel over-rehearsed. It felt natural. Didn't feel like a stage play at all. So, Robert Zemeckis is a good director, and he still kind of fell into that pitfall. This movie didn't. It felt like a movie still. Yeah, sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent there. But
it sounds like that one had a very limited set for its movie.
Right, yeah,
and this one, it's a lot bigger than one room, but it's just
But it's
the
still a
house,
house,
basically.
yeah.
It's every room in this house. We will be in every room many times, especially her bedroom.
Yeah. Much like here, it doesn't actually leave the house until the very last scene.
Yeah.
So it's a similar thing where it is limited, but the limited space is larger, which also allows for great camera work. Man, the camera work was some of the best I've literally ever seen. The camera work was astounding to me. It was hard to like sometimes honestly pay attention to what was happening just because I was like, the camera looks great. It's so good. I'm trying to let you talk because once I start, I'm not going to stop. So if
fair.
you've got anything, say it now.
Listen, I have to say,
Okay.
with these quote-unquote horror films, right?
Let's just throw the word horror out because this is not a horror film by anybody's standard. I don't care what IMDb says.
Okay, fine. But just to keep on that for one split second.
Okay.
With them, they have a common theme for me.
Okay.
Third act starts to fall apart,
Okay.
generally. Generally, the mystery's been somewhat revealed now. Everything starts to go super weird. It goes off the rails. It loses its charm it had before. This never did that. This
In fact, I would
was
say it
great
got-
front to back.
In fact, I'd say it got better in the last act.
Yeah.
I think the last act was the best part.
No, I can agree with that.
In fact, I'd say the last scene is the best part.
Wait, the very last scene?
Yes.
Or... Okay. No, that was a very good scene, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of good ones to choose from, but if I think back to this movie years from now, that's the scene that's like, it hit me the most.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to remember.
Yeah, that
the
very
most.
ending was pretty...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was strong.
Oh. That's why you cast a good actor in that role.
Good old Lucy Liu. It was in this less than I thought she would be after
Yeah, she was top
realizing
billed,
she was
but
in it.
it kind of felt like the daughter was the main character, the dad was secondary, son was third, and
Yeah.
the mother fourth.
Honestly, toss the one kid in there fourth over
Frankly,
mom.
yeah, honestly.
For how much setup she got in the first half of the movie, for her storyline mostly, for my confusion on, oh, I guess that really wasn't that important that we addressed this? Because I really thought that was going somewhere.
Well, I'm curious what
I
you're
don't really
talking
want to say
about.
much
Yeah,
about
I guess we'll
spoilers,
save that
but
for
yeah.
spoilers. But I didn't feel like any detail that was necessary was missing. You know,
I guess
obviously
it wasn't
there's, like,
really necessary, but it seemed like it was going to be some big impact on the story, and then wasn't. And then it made me question at the end, did we need that one section? Because we still could have had family strife. We could have
Yeah.
still had the clear favoritism of the parents. We could have still had the drama with the various friends in school and drugs and such. And I all of that was great. And that
And
one
death.
thing was just kind of, yeah, and death especially.
Yeah.
And that one part was like, oh, seemed like it was going somewhere, and then was resolved really easy. And just left me kind of confused.
You know what I'm confused about is actually something the dad said on the phone call. That never got addressed. I'm more curious about that than anything, but I did kind of forget about it.
There wasn't much, because like the story was engaging enough, the mystery kept on going through and kept staying interesting, and still really wasn't fully explained. We have our theories, and we're probably between the two of us, we're probably right.
I think what was said right at the end answered the question we had.
Yeah,
So I think, yeah.
but then that begs so many other questions that
But they're
we're not gonna
questions
answer.
that, you know, I mean, it says in the movie that the universe doesn't make sense and nobody has the answers. They don't even have the questions.
Yeah.
So I think you're not supposed to know, and that's just because the universe is unknowable, especially the supernatural aspects of it, if you believe in that. So I don't have a problem with those not being answered. I kind of prefer that, honestly.
I don't have a huge issue with it, but it does leave me a little puzzled at times.
Good. Good. I think that's fine. I think you should be puzzled until your puzzler's sore.
All right, Cease.
And then you can puzzle some more. I don't think I will. But I am very close to giving this a 10.
Dang.
And the very lowest I can go is 8.5.
I think do all right with an 8.5. I don't know if I could do a 10. I don't know what we get a 10.
I don't think I can, simply because there was one or two very, very nitpicky hiccups that I'm not even going to get into because they're that nitpicky. But if a movie's going to be a 10, I feel like I can't have any nitpicks whatsoever.
Yeah.
But, like, not only is the concept original, the execution is brilliant. The acting is surprisingly good for something like this. Like I said, something similar like here, the acting is dog shit and you just have to kind of put up with it because it's like, oh, it's the style. This one's like, no, fuck your style. We're going to do it right. We're going to do it good. And so and it's a mystery that I didn't see the ending coming, which is so hard to do, making something original and satisfying and not going like, well, that doesn't make sense because boo. So everything about this, other than like the tiniest of tiny nitpicks, whether it was like in a line here or a delivery there, it's really tiny shit. And so that's where I'm like, I probably can't give it a 10 and feel like that's justified, but like I can't name one legitimate flaw in the movie. I can't, and I won't. You can't make me. Shut up, stop. It's tough because I don't want to overreact, Be like, oh, it's the best thing ever. But like I said, I refuse to go beneath an 8.5. So I guess that's where I'm going to be for now. And I'll let it sit and see if it goes up. But like, dude, we've been blessed this January. We had 2 8-star movies.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And I definitely think that this is better than the last one, even though the last one was pretty good. So
yeah.
8, I think we gave that one an 8.
We gave that
7.5 an 8.
one. Yeah, it was like 7.5, 8. Yeah.
So yeah, 8.5 probably.
Yeah.
Probably fair here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
this
just
one did have shockingly less monkeys.
True, but that trailer made up for it.
With the trailer?
The monkey trailer.
Oh, yes.
Yes. That's our next
The monkey that likes to kill our family, he's back. No!
He must
that monkey.
be destroyed.
I love it. You could just call and go like, the monkey's back. And I think you know who you're talking about. But it's like, hey, you know the monkey? Which monkey? The one that kills our family? Oh, that monkey. Yeah, well, he's back. Shit! It's like, because it's a Stephen King short story. And it's like,
Which was hilarious when I saw that.
People make fun of it because in it, they go, it's back. And everybody goes like, be more specific. In this one, Stephen King said, all right, fine, I'll be more specific. The monkey that killed our family is back. Oh, that monkey. Shit.
Wait. Which monkey that kills our family? Because there's a company now.
Is it the baboon?
Yeah.
Is it the ape? I don't know.
How does he kill? Because, they like to do different things.
Is he the one with the drums or the one with the chainsaw? They're very different vibes. See, that's how this movie is good, because you can't even make fun of it, so we have to start making fun of other shit to make this podcast exciting.
But let me make fun of this movie. Maybe it would have gotten a 10 if it had a monkey.
I don't know that a monkey could have done anything.
Nah, I don't know.
To improve this story.
The closet opens one time, there's a monkey in there.
Dude, and this is a very light spoiler, but like, so at one point they bring in like a medium or something. I forget what they actually call her, but it's somebody that
I just
speaks
assume,
to or senses ghosts.
Yeah.
And this camera is constantly moving around as the ghost, getting in people's faces, getting in the way of stuff, and very rarely do they actually react to it because they're not aware of it unless it wants you to be aware of it, except for this woman.
Yeah.
The second she gets out of the car, she looks up and sees the camera. And then as they're all standing around talking, she's like nervously looking at the camera and stuff. I just loved that. It was so good because I was like, they better do that. They better have her aware of this. And then like, yeah, duh, we're smart enough to do that. I'm like, well, thanks. Sorry. Sorry I doubted you.
I see a lot of crap sometimes.
Yeah, I saw a flight risk today. God, dude, I loved this movie. I was consistently shocked by where the plot went, and in a good way. Like, pleasantly surprised. Well, pleasant's a strong word. I was distraught.
Everyone acted well. The story was very good, and there's really only a couple of points.
Astounding.
Yeah, that one song was a classic. Clearly, apparently.
Yeah,
I didn't know it, but
so 3 years ago, but it is a classic.
No, classics,
Okay,
That's a 5
I
year
do
thing,
have
whatever.
a complaint. Too much fucking orange juice. What are we doing with the orange juice?
Listen.
Who fucking drinks orange juice like this? I get heartburn. Okay.
Well, listen. If there's one thing this movie taught me, is that orange juice has a lot of uses.
There's one thing this movie taught me. It's don't drink juice, actually. Don't accept juice. And if somebody offers you a glass, say, I want the other one.
Yeah. That's why if you want to offer someone a glass, offer them the other one.
And then if they don't ask you to switch, then you go, ah, shit. Well, I'm gonna leave these two on a spinny table and then we'll decide. Did you see what it's rated on IMDb?
No, I literally didn't do any research for this besides seeing the premise right before we walked in.
It's like a 6.7, and I want to find everybody who rated it lower than a 7 and smack them.
Wow, 6.7.
I know.
I wonder what the reviews say.
It's got like I think it's 70 something on Metacritic. I saw one critic say that it was like an unsatisfying end. I'm like, are you fucking insane? The ending was not unsatisfying at all. It's the best fucking part.
I guess I get that some of the mysteries weren't revealed, but like it seemed like a pretty solid ending.
All right, so that's what we had to think spoiler free. We're going to get into spoilers now, though. So if you don't want anything spoiled, you should go watch it. Please do. Honestly, it is very good, worth your time, worth your money. Go watch it. Come back and we can talk about it then. But also don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow, review, all that shit. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Spoilers.
Woo.
So. This whole movie is set up as if, so this family's moving into this house, and immediately you know that there is already this presence, they even used the word presence in the movie and I giggled, living or existing in this house. And it's never meant to intimidate you, though. Like the music, as the ghost is wandering around the house, is sad or melancholic and like nostalgic almost. Like it never sounds like ominous. It's just like, it's here and it's making you think. And it quickly attaches itself to the daughter of the family. And the daughter quickly associates this presence with her dead friend. And so you just naturally believe her and go, that makes sense. Why wouldn't it be?
She seems like she can sense it. No one else doesn't seem like they can sense it at all. So.
Yeah. And there seems to be a connection there. For a little bit, I didn't believe it, where I thought this movie was going to turn into a horror movie, and this presence was going to start out being nice and then eventually turn evil and try to, like, attack all of them and hurt all of them.
Yeah.
And I thought that might happen. But no, the actual twist is that it's actually her brother who dies near the end of this movie. And this whole time, as they say, spirits exist outside of time, and so the reason the spirit is there is for an event that hasn't happened yet, because there's something that is going to go wrong with a window that does not open. And I took does not open as cannot open.
Yeah, that was
so that really confused me, because I was like, so a windshield, or no, that's stained glass, or that.
And there's a lot of windows that don't open in this house, but this one just simply they never
did
opened
not
it.
Open, yes.
Yeah. They could, but it just didn't.
And so this whole time you're like, you know, not even treating it like it's a mystery who this ghost is, because you feel like you solved the mystery, or there wasn't even really.
Yeah, they seem like they explain it very clearly up until the medium shows up, and then that throws a little wrench into some things.
Yeah, but then like I said, it turns out it's her brother who is alive throughout most of the duration of this movie, and then he dies. Stopping his friend from murdering her, which was something I didn't see coming at all. I thought he was just a rapist, which was confusing to me. I was like, if you're already fucking the girl, then why would you need to rape her? And then it wasn't rape, it was murder.
My only thought in that moment was, have you ever heard the saying that rape is far more about the control than about the sex? And I'm like, okay, maybe he just gets off on the control and he needs her to be unconscious or something, have that power over. And it was kind of that, except it was just murder.
Yeah, because murder also can be about control.
Yeah. And he definitely, in that very last moment, they gave off heavy serial killer vibes.
Yeah.
And clearly, you know, this was going to be the third victim, so yeah, that was intentional.
Because he already killed, what was the girl's name? It was funny because they kept saying the one girl's name, and then they refused to name the other girl and just kept going, and the other one. I'm like, okay.
She knew her a little bit, all right?
It's like, with the dad is like, her friend so-and-so died, and her other friend,
She
the
knew
other
her.
one, she knew her too.
Yeah, just a little bit, but she
A
knew
little
her.
bit, but she did know her. I was like, just say a name, any name. Just come up with one. But no.
Nadia?
Nadia sounds right. I think Nadia was right. Something like that, if not. But anyway, yeah. And then so you still don't know it's not her until, you know, the thing has been done, and then there's still a spirit hanging out. And so my first reaction was, oh, it's the brother now. Emphasis on now.
Yeah.
And then you're like, was it always the brother? And I was like, well, why would it be? And then you're like, it was outside of time. And I was like, interesting. And I was thinking about that. And then you see the brother in the mirror. The ghost is now the brother in the mirror. And then the mom, Lucy Liu, says, he came back to save her. Which triggered a memory also to early in the movie, I forget the exact line, but the dad is yelling at the son at one point and says something to the effect of, I just want you to defend your sister, or like take your sister's side, or something like that. Just once, just one time.
Yeah, because it was like when they're outside and she's like, they all have seen the effect of the presence now.
Yeah.
Something paranormal has happened that they're all trying to wrap their heads around, and she's speaking about how very real it is and how she's been right about it, and he kind of just like,
he just likes to call her crazy and
he doesn't want to
belittle everything she does.
He doesn't want to confront it. He just wants to leave, forget about this, never come back to this house.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Not about his swimming life.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so it turns out that it was his ghost, or at least it makes it seem that way.
Yeah, because like,
it was his ghost the whole time.
Because the medium, she's looking in that mirror, and she's giving her a little speech about it, and she says something along the lines of, sometimes spirits can be here for something that hasn't happened yet, something in the future. I see it now. It's something. It's here for something in the future. Maybe it was when she was visiting the dad later.
No, she says that the first time.
Okay.
I believe she says that they're like not attached to time.
Yeah.
But then she comes back and like, now I know. I had a dream. I know what it's about.
Yeah, it was something
to do
in
with
the
the
future.
window that does not open.
Yeah.
And he's like, get out of here. Yeah, then when he goes to save her, he grabs the the friend Ryan, and throws him. But because he's still having the effects of the drugs, the date rape drug that he was put on, he also falls out the window, and they both fall and die. Which, man. Oh, God.
Yeah,
This movie was so good, but so sad. Especially when Lucy Liu looks into the mirror
That was
and sees her son and just screams.
Because one thing you gotta understand about this movie, it's the two parents and two kids, and they have very much set up that there is a preference between these parents. Like the dad, you know, he somewhat has a attitude of, you gotta treat them both equally, you gotta love them both equally, but he clearly connects more with the daughter.
Right.
And the mom doesn't even try to hide how much she prefers the son to the daughter.
Yeah.
And to have her favorite kid dead at the end, I didn't want to crack the joke in the moment. But unfortunately, because the movie is so damn hilarious, a different movie, all I could think about was Walk Hard, the wrong kid died. All I could think about. I turned to say it, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna leave it.
I'm glad you didn't say anything, because I would have smacked you so hard. You would have forgot what movie we had just watched.
I couldn't help it. I hated it. It was so bad.
All right, you've lost talking privileges. This movie's really fucking good.
It was a great moment, but that's all I can think about.
Shut up. This movie's really good and just really a gut punch. And it's like, it's a slow burn gut punch that makes it even better because you don't see the gut punch coming. The whole time you're just like, yeah, something bad's gonna happen. And you're thinking like, I don't know even what I was thinking, what was gonna happen. Like, I thought like, you know, you knew that the boyfriend wasn't trustworthy, and so I had in my mind kind of pinpointed the window that couldn't open to either being the stained glass thing above her head, and he was gonna like use that to smack her or something, or somebody was gonna fall out of a window during a party they were gonna throw. Those were my two thoughts. And so then when he pulls out the cling wrap to murder her, my whole plan is just thrown out the window because now I'm like, well, I mean, he could still grab the stained glass window and hit her with it, but why would he? She's knocked out.
Right.
And so then I'm like, is the cling wrap the window? And so I'm thinking that.
That'd be interesting.
And I was like, is that like a metaphor? Like, or it's just like, you know, when you have these visions, you don't see things clearly. She clearly didn't even know which window it was or anything. She just knew idea window. And so I was like, cling wrap is kind of like a window. I don't know. But then they both fall out of the window. And I'm like, oh, you know, didn't see that gut punch happening. Didn't see that coming. And then, like I said, I was like, okay, now the sun's here. But I wasn't expecting the whole Lucy Liu reaction thing. I just wasn't, like, ready for either. You know, like, I thought, like, maybe he was going to, like, because throughout the movie he kind of, like, blows on people to get their attention or does something. I thought maybe he'd do that. But she actually just straight up sees him in the mirror. And I was just, oh, it's just powerful, dude. It was so well done.
Yeah. I will say with the final moments, when she said the window, I know she didn't know specifically which window, and I know they have her look up because it's the daughter's bedroom right there. Mm-hmm. But she is looking at the window it's going to happen in too.
Not literally, though, because there were the two side-by-sides. The one is open, and that's the one he's looking through. And it was the one next to that they fell out.
That's the one she looked up at and saw the daughter through? Which the daughter looked down at the dad and her outside? Uh-huh. Okay. That's what I thought.
So
I thought it was
right next to it.
Okay, I thought that was the same window there. And when she said it, I didn't think that was going to be the window that it happened at. But at the end of the movie, it's like, oh, shit, was she...
Yeah, I remember exactly because she said it's a window that doesn't open.
Yeah.
And so my first thought was, she says window. I'm like, window. And I'm like, oh, the window's open. And then the camera moves to the right, to the window right next to it. And that one wasn't open. I'm like, oh, but that one's not. And then I went, oh, but it can.
Yeah.
And so I stopped thinking about it.
Yeah.
Started looking for things that couldn't open.
Like, I figured the tragedy had to be something to do with one of the family members, not a party goer, even though I knew they were going to try to throw the party later. When the parents left, I figured it had to be one of the kids. Now, I did think it was going to be her in some way. I didn't expect it to end how it did.
No. Once he brought out the cling wrap, I was like, I have no idea where this is going.
Yeah, that's... I kind of... Well, I understood once I saw the cling wrap what was going on, but, like, I would not have guessed that beforehand.
Yeah. It also just, like, him being that insane answered so many questions, because I was like... Well, once again, I was like, why is the Ambien is so weird? Like, I'm like, I know certain people get off on that. Like, Bill Cosby, you know, is a thought where it's like he could have had sex with any of the women he did, but he chose to date rape them anyway, because that's just, when people are weird, they're weird. But I was still like, I just don't get it. Like, if you can fuck the girl, why do you need her drug to do it? And then it's like, murder. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. That's different.
And it was interesting because, like, they emphasized on his lack of control in their in like their first like real conversation they had in the room alone together.
Yeah.
Where, you know, he speaks about how he feels everyone controls every aspect of his life and he's never for 1 second had control. And later on, he speaks when he's drugged her and he's explaining himself to her, essentially. He's like, he says the whole time in their relationship, he's always saying, you know, we'll move at your speed. You're in control here. Whatever you want to do, that's what we do. You don't want to do something, we won't do it. And he's like, I give you control so I can take it back because that's mine to give you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
this makes a lot of sense for him now, his psychotic ass. But I can see where it's coming from now.
If I had one point of confusion, it is, how much control does the ghost have? Because he, for the most part, did not actually touch stuff, but there is the scene where he picks up the books and moves them, so he can pick up little things.
It was very, very specifically delicate. And that was the thing about like, I have seen, you know, oh, stuff's been moved around the room. Mm-hmm. It's always seemingly more shocking, stacked on top of each other in unnatural orders or stuff like that. It was just, I repositioned your stuff. I was like, I cleaned up your room some. It's very peaceful. And that's when I started to think, oh, maybe this isn't going to be a horror ghost. But maybe it does later. But it is very, weird because there's that. There's the shaking of the brother's room. Like, it can cause earthquakes almost.
Right. I kind of viewed that as more like vibrations, like that it's like sending out pulses or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like that makes sense as to why it wouldn't interact as much, but it proves that it can interact with specific items. So at the end, when the boyfriend is giving her the other glass and the ghost knows that the drugs are in there, why does it walk away to go wake up the brother when it could just grab the drink out of her hand? Is it like weak, I guess, maybe, and can't overpower? So I don't know.
But that's the weird thing, because like it can move books and the shaking of the room, we don't exactly know how that worked. For me, when I was first seeing it, and maybe I need to see the scene again, but it kind of seemed like someone walked, like a person walked in and threw a tantrum in the room.
Yeah.
Just started knocking stuff down and everything. And clearly that's not how exactly it went down, but it had that feeling for me.
Yeah.
Like if it was a real person, then they're just smacking stuff around.
I was talking...
And then the table later...
Yeah, more about the table, where it didn't shake the...
Yeah, it didn't shake the glass, it just shook the table off the edge.
The area, it seemed.
So it's like sometimes it's very direct, sometimes it's very roundabout, and then at the end, it can just wake the brother up.
Yeah, I didn't get that. But once again, I was like, I don't view that as something wrong with the movie, because in order for the logic to be bad, you have to set up the logic, and they don't.
Yeah,
they don't specify the rules, and so when you say that it doesn't make sense, it's simply because you don't know what the rules are. So that's where I'm like, there's very, very tiny nitpicks if you really want to have them, but there's no outright problems with the movie.
No, I agree. This movie, pretty great through and through. My most confusing thing that I was saying earlier and didn't want to bring up specifically was Lucy Liu's criminal storyline.
Okay, so that's interesting, because that's what I was talking about too with the dad on the phone. I thought he was saying he was the criminal.
No, because she had that conversation with the son in the room, like, hey, it's okay to do things
even if they're bad
for other people. It seemed very clear to me that she did something to help the son's career, but then it didn't go. It wasn't really revealed. Like,
interesting.
The husband seems to know about it, and he seems to think about leaving, and he checks about his own legal liability,
and he tells
then
her
he turns
that
around.
we can work through this if you choose to let me.
And I thought that was interesting. I thought that was going somewhere, but we never get resolution for that, and we never hear anything about what was going on with her. Her stuff is just kind of dropped.
I don't think it's dropped. I think everything is peripheral, because it's similar to here, as in you're kind of stuck in this spot. And granted, the spot is bigger, like it's the whole house versus the room, but you don't hear the full conversations of anything. And that's actually something I really appreciated, was like, when the girl brings over the boyfriend for the first time, without the brother being there, the first line said is, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, I love that, because they're starting the conversation elsewhere and continuing it here, so it makes it feel more real. Like she had already said, nobody's going to be home. And he goes, or something like that. And he goes, are you sure?
Because she's
like, yeah, not until 7.
Yeah.
I loved that, because it's just a little subtle way to make things feel more real. So I think not revealing what that is, one, it's not important to the plot. We don't need to know what it is.
But it felt like it was going to be really important to the plots. And those other scenes didn't as much. It was clear... there are two teenagers in a house alone. I can infer their conversation and see that maybe it might have bearing on the rest of the plot. Maybe it doesn't. Her thing seemed incredibly important to the plot for the first third to a half of the movie.
I think...
And then it just wasn't. And then by the end, it's clear that it never really needed to be, but it very much felt like it was going to be when I was watching it.
I think it was as important as every other detail of their marriage was, where it's just, there's clearly things going on that he's let her, with her narcissistic behavior, go unleashed. Same thing that she's now doing with their son.
Yeah.
And he sees that behavior and wants out of it, because he's like, I just want to be a good person.
Fair.
I'm over this. So it's like, I think it was just an example of what's wrong with their relationship.
But it was such an extreme example to me.
It is an extreme example.
She's crying about it. He's considering divorce. I feel like they could have hit a lot of these notes with a different storyline that didn't seem like it was going to break up the family in the end, necessarily. I guess maybe that was the point, but it's so big. Something criminal. Something she seems like she's afraid of going to prison for.
See,
Like
I never
that-
got that from her, that she felt like she was afraid of going to prison for it.
That one scene with the son, she seemed like almost crying, like drunk and crying.
She was crying. I took that more of her just talking about regrets.
It was definitely regrets, but like it seemed like she had done something so deeply wrong that it was going to come out soon, and you know, it's okay, you know, whatever I did, you know, just know I did it because I love you, and you know, it's okay to do things, crazy things for people you love, no matter how bad they are. It's as long as you were doing it for the right reasons.
See, I took that scene so differently because I just, you know, every once in a while you get that from your parents. You just get a little bit of parent lore. And you're like, what the fuck am I hearing right now? Because it's just your parents will randomly let slip something that you're like, you did what? And then they won't expound on it. Or in his case, you kind of feel like, I shouldn't be hearing this. I should go now. Because you're in a compromised situation. I don't want you telling anything you'll regret saying.
I can get him. It just kept popping up so much that, and such a big thing, not like just a cheating scandal or something that's seemingly smaller than that. It seemed legal to me. At least that's how I was reading.
Well, yeah,
this.
I mean, because the dad says something about.
Oh yeah, he's looking into the case and my legal responsibility.
And
I'm thinking like she's gonna get arrested or something. But like, you know, if it was just cheating or just bad, just not connecting in the marriage, just fighting or something. The lack of proper parenting for all the kids. You know, maybe he's just mad about her clearly just doting on the son and never the daughter. It's just, I don't know. Just that one aspect I thought would play more of a part in the movie. And I feel like that could have been changed heavily and still hit many of the same points with Lucy Liu. I guess he doesn't have the conversation on the phone if it's not legal, but I don't think that was really necessary either for to get their whole relationship struggles across.
Yeah, so I see where you're coming from, and this is where once again I kind of just lean on to me that's nitpick territory, because there's nothing outright wrong. It's just something that you think could be different, and I feel the same way because I didn't kind of pick up on her side of it like you did, but I was thinking the same thing about the dad's conversation.
Yeah.
Like that seemed kind of random. I didn't realize how many dots were connected that you connected, but to me that's not a flaw in the movie. That's just personal preference. And so that's where I'm like, I don't consider that a flaw or a mistake. I just go, that was an interesting choice, and kind of move on. I don't, and maybe you don't like it, but like, and maybe you consider it an actual flaw. I don't. I just think
I don't really need movies to explain everything to me. Now, I may come across like that, being confused at the end of movies sometimes. But like, I understand nobody needs to hold your hand through every movie, and that's very annoying to have them all do that. This just felt like something got dropped to me, and maybe that's not how it's going to come across to everybody.
Didn't
but it was an odd choice for me for something that ultimately I don't feel like had a great impact on the story at all. That some other quote unquote secret scandal could have.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of liked the vagueness, for lack of a better word, because there's, you know, maybe we should talk to Alan Doyle about it. Why do we have to talk to Alan Doyle like that, or whatever his name was, something like that? And it's like, you know, was that a therapist that they knew, or was that her boss? Like, who are we talking about? I liked the eye in the sky perspective of, I don't know what's going on with them, but I don't need to know because I'm here on a mission. I've got one task. I've got one thing to do. I'm not sure what it is. I'm here to figure out. So I'm going to be looking around. I'm going to be observant, but I don't think it's this. And once I know, I'll know. And then I can leave. And so, like I said, I get where you're coming from. I'm glad we finally fundamentally disagree about something. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I don't think I've ever like had a disagreement on this channel, and that needs to happen eventually. Because I get where you're coming from, but I just don't.
I don't really think we see so many movies where you could read stuff differently.
Yeah, but you can also just have different opinions on something. Like, you could walk out of...
I'm waiting for the day where you hate a movie and I love it for being bad. That's probably about the closest we're going to get real soon.
I wanted to happen the other way, where I like, and this isn't that because we both liked it, but I clearly like it more than you did.
You do like it more
But
than me.
I think a lot of that is because of technical stuff. That,
Yeah,
like,
I miss a lot of the technical stuff. Like, I enjoyed the camera work, but saying the camera work is very good is never a phrase that enters my head as a reviewer.
Whereas me, I'm like, that was the fucking best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's definitely perspective. Or it's definitely different perspectives. But I would love to like come out of a movie going, that's a 10, and you come out going, that's a 2. I'm coming out saying that's a 9, and you're saying 8 or whatever. We're still pretty close.
Yeah.
So, but
It was
anyway.
very good. It was just literally that one part that left
Yeah.
me like, why? Okay, I see the relationship struggles, but why that?
Yeah, I was just amazed. And granted, it is because of how his parents treat him. But like, you're gonna do something as illegal and awful as he did, and then brag about it to your parents.
Yeah, no, that was crazy.
And it's just because she babies him so much, and so I'm sure that happens. But I was just like, I would never, if I did anything remotely bad, I ain't telling my parents about it.
Like, there are certain things I could see him bragging about. You know, we were drinking, I was partying. You know, if he's with his dad, I guess maybe the mom would have been down too. But I was fucking this girl.
Yeah.
Whatever with that stuff. But oh no, we catfished her and then got her to wear this shirt and then pranked her and then we sent a nude out about her and then we told the entire school and now everyone makes fun of her. I thought she was gonna end up killing herself and maybe be connected with the ghost somehow.
Yeah. That bothered me more than the whatever was happening with the parents.
Yeah, I actually dropped that one pretty quickly, but I do, in that moment, I was like, why is the mom into this story?
I don't think she was. I think she was trying to... She was upset, but didn't want to be upset.
Because she got upset at the end, I can somewhat agree with that. But like, damn.
Yeah.
No pushback until the very end? It's like, nothing he's... Like, I get the end with the new picture and now the entire school makes fun of her or whatever. That's especially bad, but nothing he said up to that point was good.
No.
And up to there, she was like, oh yeah, really? Tell me more. Interesting. Oh wow.
I don't think she was ever on board with it. I think she was...
She was leaned in. It's like,
I didn't...
tell me more. And it wasn't like a, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah.
No. Tell me what the fuck you did. No, it was... Oh, honey, that's a funny story.
I don't think she actually ever liked the story.
She seemed like she did. Now, the father didn't at all, and the daughter didn't at all.
I love the father's dialogue. It was like, you don't need to say fucking.
Yeah.
We know what you mean. It doesn't even emphasize it anymore.
She
You're not
seemed
helping.
so engrossed in the story and not just like, oh, you're a fucking monster, man. What the fuck? What are we raising right now?
But once again, that's commentary on how these kind of people get raised. And granted, he's not the bad guy.
No,
he ends up dying. It's the best thing that happens to him, frankly. But like, he hangs out with those kind of monsters.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like,
he's coddled and...
whenever there's like a murderer or something like that, it's always the parents going like, no, he's such a good kid. And it's like, no, you don't know him. Or you did, but you were purposefully oblivious to it.
Boys will be boys, man.
Right. Murderers will murder.
Yeah.
Rapists will rape.
Who doesn't have a few dozen skeletons in their closet from their youth? Come on. You know all those skeletons in your like science classrooms?
My closet.
Where do you think they get them?
And like I said, there are those nitpicky things about it. That's why I can't give it a 10. Like, I think the last 10 I ever gave was The Father with Anthony Hopkins, which that movie just is flawless. And so I know I can't compare the two because there were nitpicky things in this. But to me, now this is going to sound like stupid or just over analytical or mathematical, but like, if I find a fundamental flaw with a movie, I take away a star. If I find like a nitpick, I'll take away like half a star or whatever. And I'm like, at most there are 3 nitpicks in this movie. I don't even know if there are 3, but I'm giving room for 3. So that's 3 half stars, gets down to an 8.5, and I'm like, can't go lower than that. Because I don't even know if I can think of a third nitpick. I can think of 2 that we already talked about. But for me, even if you call one of those nitpicks a full-on flaw, that's 1.5 stars, 8.5, maybe a 9. I don't know. To me, it was good. Great,
Yeah.
even.
And my scale definitely is not as scientific as yours.
No.
I Nice.
Your scale is that boy good to didn't like that.
Yeah, if I gave the Monkey movie a 7.5 to an 8, this is an 8 to an 8.5 for me at least.
Yeah. So go see it, because
I have to assume the budget for this is going to be crazy, so this might make its money, right?
oh, it has to.
I always wonder with films nowadays, like how many of them are actually making their money.
Well,
I never look at the budgets, but like
most of them. Well, I shouldn't say most, but most that we hear of do.
yeah,
Because if you're big enough to get like actual recognition, you're probably gonna get money, like a decent chunk of change. But a decent chunk of change won't cover something like a Red One budget, but it would cover most independent films like this, like Neon, A24. Pretty sure like all those movies get their money back because it's only like $10 million usually.
it's really funny how much somebody can do with a low budget in a film, and how little someone else can do with it.
I've often said that, where I'm like, money doesn't make the movie, and it's like my favorite example of that is like Taika Waititi. His best movie, Jojo Rabbit, was like, I forget, 20 to 40 million or something. And then he also made Thor Love and Thunder, and that was like 150 million.
Yeah.
Money doesn't make the movie good. It can help, but it's not. Artists make art regardless of the money. I don't know if this would cost more or less than Flight Risk. Probably comparable budgets. And you see how one is this artistic masterpiece and the other is a piece of shit.
Yeah, I would have to think Flight Risk costs more for the actors, and I guess
Probably.
some of the set pieces, because at the end that seemed kind of expensive in parts.
Yeah, honestly, I would guess that it costs twice as much.
Yeah,
We said that one was like 25 million or whatever.
it's amazing what better acting, dialogue, plot, camera work, directing.
Presence was on a budget of $2 million. It was a tenth of the cost. A tenth of the cost of that shit.
That's crazy.
That's bordering on a no-budget movie.
That's crazy.
Or a micro budget or something. It's tiny. Because all you did was you had a cameraman, a house, and like 8 actors. That's
Yeah.
it. And most of the actors were nobodies. I'm definitely going to be looking out for the dad and the daughter. I mean, they were all good, but they stuck out the most to me.
Them the most for sure. I honestly really like the friend too. He had his
Yeah, you would.
his stoner surfer moments, and then his yeah. no, he had the ability to flip the intensity when he really wanted to. He was
Yeah,
like,
and then, I mean, the brother
little
was
bit
good
before.
too. I don't know if we said it when the camera was on, but this was literally his first role in a movie.
you did say that when, or actually I don't know if the camera was on. Yeah, because I do remember you saying that.
Yeah, Julia Fox is the next billed person because she's the next most famous person, but like she's in it for 2 seconds and she sucks at acting, so.
Yeah, she I don't know how much it, because so now you're telling me she's the second most famous person. I don't know how much it cost to get her in this movie, but whatever it cost, wasted.
Yes.
You could have got anybody to do that role.
Yes.
Anybody.
I really like that the ghost's home was the closet, and whenever it was uncomfortable or scared, or
Yeah,
whatever, it just
went
went
to
to the
a little
closet.
place.
I love that. And then she starts having sex, and it just turns and looks at the shirt. Which, when I thought it was her friend, I was like, oh, that's funny. But when it's her brother, it's like, yeah, I would be uncomfortable too. Not that he really felt like a person anymore. Like, I don't think sex would mean anything to him at this point. But he still is just like, so shirt. It's a good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Definitely like it. Way too early prediction. Might be the best movie to come out this year. It might.
I have to look at what movies are coming out this year, but I know none of the ones I'm going to see by myself and with my other friends are going to be probably as good as this. So, yeah.
Starting off the year strong, man.
It's kind of weird. Isn't January, February supposed to be
Shitty.
show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least February
have been
looks like it could
blessed.
save us with some shit.
Yeah. Well, we've been getting 50-50. We had 2 shitty movies. Okay, I had 3 shitty movies. You had 2. And then we also had 2 great movies. So it's been a weird January, but I'm not upset about it. I was thinking, because just, starting the podcast now, I was worried. It's like, I'm trying to, like, turn over a new leaf here. if everybody that starts listening to this podcast goes, man, this guy just hates everything he watches, I'm like, it's not a good start. But I'm like, I don't. It's just January, okay? But luckily, some really, really good movies have come out this month too. So, yeah, check it out. Please do. Please support. I mean, granted, it's Steven Soderbergh. He doesn't need your help. But, like, support indie filmmaking. And support low-budget filmmaking, because this is where the good shit's at, dude.
I guess he doesn't need your help, but it's not a great sign that you didn't know about this movie till it came out today.
I didn't, yeah.
That's a pretty bad... If I don't know about it, that's totally one thing, but you didn't know about it?
Yeah, and even if it is people like Steven Soderbergh or David Koepp who are big names in the industry doing it, I think sending them the message of make original shit, make good shit, make low budget shit, don't worry about the big blockbuster bullshit. You can send that message to them too, with your money. So go watch it while it's in theaters. Don't know how long it's going to be there, because I just guessing it's not going to be there long. So please go see it as soon as you can. It's definitely worth it. So good. It really is so good. So yeah, what did you guys think though? If you've seen it, let us know in the comments below. Also, like, share, subscribe, follow, review, everything you can. It all does help. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Damn, man. Good shit.